There's so many details. So just have a very good think about like what kind of lifestyle you want. If you want to be like a digital nomad, live like 2-3 months somewhere. If you want to move somewhere else, then it's a different type of research you have to do. It's literally just prioritize whatever you have to do and just be realistic about it. Yeah.
And then live the life that you want to live.
Totally.
Welcome back to another Nomad Summit podcast. My name is Palle Bo, and I'm here with my good friend and co-host, Christoph.
Hello.
And today, Christoph, we're both in Bangkok, and we have an interesting guest for us.
It's Andrew. Welcome, Andrew.
Hi, guys. Nice to be with you again.
And you're in Bukharest?
For now, yes. I'm back in Bukharest for some deep work here. The weather is not looking great, but and I have to go to England in next week, actually. So it's looking dark so far.
Let's talk about more happy things.
Yeah, we just switched off the air condition, and we might have a problem because if you see us starting to sweat, it's because it's quite hot here in Bangkok.
Yeah, I would be jealous.
Also hot is the topic that we're talking about today.
Oh, nice, smooth transition.
Andrew is the founder of Remote Tribe Life. That's a website and social media channels for people that want to work remotely or have made that leap already. But who would be better to explain to us what that is than Andrew himself?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So I founded Remote Tribe about 5 years ago during COVID when everyone was remote. I've been a nomad for, I would say 7-8 years. I've been remote working as well. I had a job most of my adult life, and in the last 8 to 10 years, I had remote jobs. So I was lucky enough to be a digital nomad / remote worker. I also have my side projects, but Remote Tribe was a very dear project. It still is a very dear project to me because I tried to empower people during COVID to understand the lifestyle, have better options, better choices to work from, discover new locations, understand how to optimize costs, how to find friends, how to network whilst traveling, because it was a very new thing for a lot of people. We had corporate people working from home suddenly or working from cafes, traveling a bit, doing workation. So it was a very new thing for a lot of people in the Western world that were going to the office 9 to 5 days a week. So for me, it was amazing to enable all these people or try to enable them to make this lifestyle that I've been living for the last 8 years on and off. That evolved into a social media channel where we post, again, like tips for travel or tips for networking, events like yours, amazing events like yours, trying again to spread the word out about this amazing community of people who travel the world and they meet in different places and they're very open-minded. So I still keep writing on the blog. We're very active on LinkedIn and Instagram, and I'm meeting people in person at different events. So I'm very happy to still be doing this.
Like we first met at a Nomad event in Portugal, I think like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And since then kept in contact. So you are a very well-traveled person yourself with a very international personal background as well. So you mentioned you're in Bucharest right now, and you also mentioned that's like Romania is the country where you were born in. Your name, Andrew, does not really give that away. So you have quite an interesting story around that as well.
Yeah, totally. So I moved with my mom when I was younger in England, when I was around 20. And then my mother remarried. So I got the name from my stepdad, and I've been using that since. And basically, yeah, I grew up in Romania, and then I lived in England as well. I matured there, learned the trade, so to say, worked in different companies, different media agencies, mostly digital agencies, doing digital services, worked a lot with data and SEO, hence, the blog, my tech knowledge about the web and all my side projects for, around remote work, like the remote jobs we have. I'm building another portal now for co-working spaces. So I'm trying to build like an ecosystem for people in the community, basically, to kind of decentralize the lifestyle and meet other people.
But right now you are back in your home country, and I guess that's for work.
Yeah, I mean, I have a base here because it's very affordable and I still have some friends.
Yeah.
But usually I'm between like the UK, Romania, and East, like either Thailand or Vietnam or, like Portugal. Sometimes I like that place. So I would say I have two bases right now. And I have like a very dear place to me is Portugal and another one is Thailand. So I try to find, it depends. It's a lot connected to business. So I have to go to UK for business sometimes. Sometimes I have to go to meetups in Portugal or just live there for like the summer because I want to enjoy. So this is the kind of the lifestyle, the setup I try to do. Yeah.
So as we are now well in the right time frame where people that are listening to this podcast are planning for their winter season in Asia or buying their tickets to the Nomad Summit, for you as like an experienced Thailand traveler, what is your secret little tip for everyone coming to Thailand for the first time?
Yeah, well, I'm so happy you asked me that because Thailand is absolutely amazing. I just came back. I was there for about a month and 3 weeks. Just came back last week. So there are a lot of tips for Thailand. But what I would say, I think the best tip is depending on your passport, you can get the visa exemption, which is for 2 months now. So you can actually be in Thailand for 2 months. So you have absolutely no problem going there.
On that note,
yeah.
There's also now the Destination Thailand visa, often called the digital nomad visa. I have published a full article in our blog with all the steps, how I got mine, answering a lot of questions. So first published that in our Reddit, in the digital nomad subreddit there, and took all the Q&As from there and distilled it into a blog article. You find the link in the show notes below.
And with that, I also have it. We can stay for 6 months at a time, which is
exactly
it's nice. Yeah.
Exactly. But for the first time, I think for the DTV, it takes a bit of time. Honestly, I'm in the process. It's absolutely terrible for me at the London embassy. It's absolutely terrible. I've been in the process for like 2 or 3 months. I think I'm an exception. I think usually it takes way less. I even complain now. I don't know what's going on. But as a beginner, like if you haven't been to Thailand, just go there on a visa on arrival, like visa exemption, see how you like it. And then if you like it, apply for a DTV, which is another great tip. It's one of the longest visas. You can stay 6 months in a country per year. And honestly, it's a great second base. It's full of expats. The quality of life is great. Food is amazing. People are amazing. It's very easy to move around, very safe. Thailand has so many benefits. So I would say that's my advice. Just go there and, rent a flat for maybe a month or two. So it's cheaper. And then you can live in different ways in Bangkok or in Chiang Mai. There's so many ways to live Thailand. I think that's the fascinating thing about Thailand.
But now that you're saying that, I also kind of want to plug your home country. I just did a big road trip around the whole country, and I've been there before, but this time it really got under my skin. And from my perspective, Romania could be a digital nomad hotspot. It's really amazing, and if you're from the western part of Europe, it's much more affordable than where I come from, Denmark, and many other places, and the US. And Romania is amazing. So I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, I can confirm as well. Quality of life in Bukharest is just amazing. Last time I was there, I spent a bit of time in Bukharest and then in Mamaia and Constanța by the Black Sea coast. Yeah. That's a very, very different vibe, but also pretty cool.
I really love Brasov. And the first time I was there, I stayed in Brasov the most time. And then I actually just took a train down to Sofia, and I was only in Bucharest on the train station. This time around, I stayed in Bucharest for a week because I was expecting it. Yeah, it's a big city, but I was expecting a big gray industrial city, and it's got so many nice corners and architecture and cafes. And
yeah, that's right.
It's really lively, and shout out to your country.
Yeah, cheers. I mean, the vibe is good in the city center. They're refurbishing a lot of these buildings. It used to be called the Little Paris in the 20s. Right. There's a lot of like old architecture, like Parisian style, and now they're refurbishing a lot of buildings. It takes time. There's still a bit of corruption here and there, so everything takes time. But yeah, I mean, I would suggest people go to Transylvania. There's some really nice co-living spaces there as well. Some people are doing workations around Cluj Asian brush off. So there are a lot of hidden gems. You'll have to probably rent a car because the train doesn't really cover all the tiny bits. But it's really good if you want to have like, like a nice workation, especially in fall, I would say, or spring when it's a bit sunny and you've got nice colors. Definitely a good place to, to live well and save some money and see something else. Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
totally.
And then you have the bear problem, but that's a whole other story. Too many bears.
Yeah, long story short, do not go on the high trails if on your own.
They kill people. And as far as I understand, it was after you joined the EU, there were some rules that you cannot kill bears anymore. And that's become a problem. There are simply too many bears now, and they can't be killed. So the bears, they are not to be joked around.
They're
really dangerous.
Yeah, always ask. Sometimes they go down in towns to look in the trash bins for food. So just always ask if you're going on a trail. The trails are beautiful, but just ask around, the services available if it's safe or not, or ask people who are in the area.
I thought we would talk a little bit about like remote work.
Yeah, and I can feel Christoph thinking we're getting off track here, Andrew. So let's get back on track.
Yeah, Andrew, tell us a little bit about your life story. What was your first remote job that you had that inspired you to start this community?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I actually have studies in digital marketing and databases. So I was looking for a digital job since in my 20s, and I was lucky enough to start working in agencies, so digital agencies as an analyst. And literally, like, I didn't have to be in the office because my work was digital. I just had to connect to different databases, systems, so on and so forth, just configure things online. So that kind of enabled me to get a remote job. So I started doing remote jobs since I was maybe, I think 30, in my early 30. And then I was working for...
But then we are talking about employments. So you were not like freelancing, so you were on the payroll.
Yeah, employed, exactly. So I was lucky enough to be in some small agencies that were really flexible. And then, they allowed me to work from Europe initially. And then I kind of negotiated my way out of Europe. Sometimes I was like, I'm going to be in your time zone. Remember, guys, that was in the early 2010 when this thing was quite new. There were only, you probably know, Christoph, there were only like some crazy web developers and backend developers who are like really key to the businesses. Brokers. Yeah, exactly. And they were, the first people doing this. And then people from digital, like marketing, communication, they started doing this as well. And then obviously once I did that, it was amazing. Like I could travel so much and earn money at the same time. And I was traveling to cheaper places. I was always a non-hostel guy, I would say. So I would just get maybe like a flat or Airbnb or just go to a hotel in Asia, for example. I really like to spend time with work and literally just be on the work and be focused on work. I did hostels when I was traveling without work, but usually when I travel with intention to a hotel or like a nice flat. And then I started jumping from one job to another. I started finding more and more companies offering that. And then during COVID, obviously it was way easier to get a remote job. So I was full-time remote employed for a long time, basically. And then I have my side hustles as well, which I'm trying to build like any nomad.
But currently you're still like juggling both of that. You have an employment and you have your side hustles.
That's right. So it's not easy. Like, and I'm trying to travel as well. So that's why sometimes I slow down with travel. Like I try to stay in a place now for like maybe 2 or 3 months and then travel, because when I travel, obviously I have to do work and side hustle. And then if you add travel and adventures on top of that, it's quite difficult. So even when I travel now, I work quite a lot. So for example, now in Bangkok, I was working maybe from 3 till 10, going out in the evenings. But then in the morning, I used to go to a nice coffee shop and work on my side gigs. So I was visiting, but mostly working. It's a bit weird, but I've been to Bangkok before. I traveled a lot. So now I kind of filled up my tank with travel and adventures, and I'm a bit more focused on work. I'm in a different phase. But if there is like a nice occasion for a party or like a really cool event, I'm not going to say no. I'm just going to drop the side projects for a bit and then enjoy life.
Yeah, and this is also the beauty of the nomad lifestyle, the remote work thing, that you can spend much more time in a place than a tourist does. And that means if you're just a tourist traveler and you have this itinerary of seeing like these natural sights and stuff, you need to go with the weather that you have on the day when it's in your itinerary.
Exactly.
While if you're staying in a nice region for a month or two, and there's this beautiful site that you want to see, you also can just wait for the perfect weather conditions or for the right people to go with and all these kind of things.
Yeah, spot on, Christoph. Like there is no FOMO basically. I've been in Bangkok for a month and a half. I've seen a lot of it already. And then I planned like maybe 15 things I wanted to do or 10 things. And I had a month and a half to do them. So there's absolutely no rush, no stress. Whenever the weather allowed or whenever I was in the mood or I had time, I went to do them. There was absolutely no FOMO there, which is amazing. So, and not to mention the networking bit where you can meet other people as well. So you can go to a meetup. That's great as well.
Yeah, it really gives you a feeling for what it's like to actually live in a city. If you have your habits, your daily routines, you meet the street food vendors that recognize you after the third time you go there.
You've got your own places, your own stalls where you try the food or the juice or the ramen. Exactly. Mm. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember at some point I stayed at an Airbnb in Los Angeles and it was just a private room at this place. And my host, I don't think she's ever had an digital nomad stay there before because she simply could not wrap her head around that. I was not going out and I was there on my, aren't you going out to see? You're here in LA. Aren't you going? No, I have some work to do. I work. It's like, I don't get it.
Some kind of a fake tourist here. Yeah.
I think that's a part of what makes us very much different than the traditional travelers and tourists.
Which leads basically to the question, like, you as the operator of such a central hub, a connecting point with Remote Tribe, you must see a lot of like the trends and changes in the community. What was the biggest trend that you've seen over the last years when it came to the transition also from like an office job to remote employment, freelancing?
Yeah, I think one thing is very, very important to mention in the past, I think 2 years, I think workations are going mainstream. So I think a lot of people who have remote jobs, they're doing like long weekends, they're spending more time with the family, they're doing holidays, both people in the couple are doing workations, they're taking the kids with them. So that's a really good life improvement, I would say, and also a really interesting maturing of the tourism market where you've got couples traveling for work and fun. And then obviously you've got the people who are in remote jobs. From what I see in the market and I talk to people, they can't get another remote job because there are not so many right now. You can still find, but they're stuck in their jobs in a good way. So they're not changing their jobs because they're very happy with what they have. So it seems like remote job is in mainstream now and it's accepted and it's kind of part of like normal to have like hybrid work or even full remote jobs. But the remote jobs are stalling a bit and we don't see many jobs coming up. We see a lot of laying off from the States and from Europe. Like a lot of companies are downsizing, unfortunately, and then they've got the upper hand now. So like people who have a remote job are holding to it, and then the other ones are struggling to find new jobs, and especially remote jobs, because it's an employer market now. It's not the employee market like in COVID, so that's an interesting trend. And I think it went a bit mainstream as well. I think now digital nomads are remote workers and remote workers are digital nomads. Like, it's kind of part of the normal, people know how it works now basically. And a lot of people are trying to get a remote job or like go freelance and try to live the digital nomad lifestyle, but it's not like it used to be in 2010-15 where only a few elites, so to say, of developers could do this. Now I think it's more accepted. I think hybrid is definitely here to stay, and it's working. And I still see a lot of people trying to get remote jobs, like fully remote, so they have the full flexibility that it offers. Because my problem with hybrid is the worst of both worlds. Like you're stuck in a big city and also you have to go to the office, so you're stuck with high costs and maybe the bad office culture. So it's like a really lose-lose deal here, unfortunately. But this is what the market is right now, and hopefully there will be more distributed and remote jobs as now we stabilized and it kind of got into the mainstream.
Yeah, let's see. And we will, on the next Nomad Summit in January in Chiang Mai, have a very interesting speaker of more than 200 people, fully remote company. He's like the COO of that company, and he's telling a bit about like remote work culture and how they established that fully remotely. Won't disclose the name as of yet, but you will see. You will see. There's definitely a shift in trend, and there's also, I mean, what we always see is a natural cycle. Like I often call it a staircase of the staircase to location independence, to financial freedom, that starts with your employment. Then a next step is a remote employment until you grow out of that and want more of your own thing, and you whether go freelance, where you can work for different employers or for different companies with like smaller commitments and a bigger diversification of your risk. And some people even overstep that part and go straight to founder and start their own business. And then next steps are, of course, from founder to company owner, investor, only living from passive income. With your community, do you see that as well, that people are stepping from remote employment and go freelance? Or is it more like people who are the employment type of person just look for the next better remote employment?
Yeah, I think there's a clear separation from what I see between people who have a remote job and then the side hustlers, like the people who are freelancers or having their own business. So I don't see a cross between the two. It's, at least from my experience, like people who are in a remote job or are in a hybrid job, they stay there. And then the freelancers, they keep freelancing and they don't want to go back to a job, or they start a new business, a new venture, like, you know, they start like anything around remote work, like a workation or a SaaS or things like that. But I think it's a clear separation. I don't see that climb on the staircase, because I think it's quite difficult for a lot of people because they've got family. So once you're employed and you've got family and obligations, it's very hard to work on side hustles and become a business owner. So I think most of the people, if I think about in my LinkedIn list, they're doing freelancing, and then I've got maybe 30% who are employed, and either they're hybrid or full-time employed, and they're trying to get a full-time remote job. I think for them, that's the first step. And then I think a lot of people are still considering being employed. It's not like, you know, being an entrepreneur is very hard, and I think people know that. So I don't see a cross between these two segments, kind of, unfortunately, no.
It's a question of personality, sure. It's not made, not everyone is made for
and
that.
Circumstances, Christoph. Like I think it matters a lot, like which stage of life you're in, if you've got a family or not, what's your ambition, like what's your vision for the lifestyle, you know, like if you're like, if you really like freedom and if you really want to have a freedom lifestyle, I think you should aim for being an entrepreneur or a freelancer and build your business so it's location independent, you're not dependent on an office. And then obviously that's your goal. You're going to work hard for it. Obviously, you have to be very motivated as well.
And speaking of ambition, what's your own ambition for your business?
Yeah, so my ambition is to grow it, obviously, create even more content. And right now I'm doing a spin-off out of Remote Tribe, which is Desktop. So booking for co-working spaces around the world. We've signed a few new spaces recently, and I'm very excited. We've got some spaces from Hong Kong and Malaysia. So I'm trying to build that as well as a support for Remote Tribe and kind of a complementary product where people can find us on the internet and just book an office for a day or an hour. We only have day passes or hourly passes. And this is what I'm working on right now very hard. I'm very excited because co-working spaces are very open to work with us. Obviously, we're bringing them new visitors. We get a commission fee based on that, but for them, there is no cost but receiving the guests, basically. And the seats are already there. The empty seats are already there. So whatever they have to do is just receive the guest and they get the payment and we get a cut. So I'm very excited about that. I think it's a very interesting project. We've got some good feedback and I'm going to keep building that. And also Remote Tribe will be a small media platform where we promote people like you and the events that you do and like all the amazing community of people who are enjoying this lifestyle with us.
Is it your ambition to go full-time on Remote Tribe?
Right now, no, because it doesn't bring that much revenue. So I think it would be a big mistake. And my job is pretty good. I like what I do, and I think I'm going to keep it as a side hustle for now until I manage to grow it bigger and bring a bit more revenue than that I have right now. Ideally, yes. But Christoph, I think this is one question I have for you about the nomad market and the remote working market. I think the market is actually smaller than what we anticipated, and I don't know if there's that much money in the market. So that's one thing I see with my products, that it's not like a huge industry that you can just tap in and just get like 1% or 0.5% out of it.
That's a bullseye question into the conversations that we're having here behind the scenes with the people that are somehow in this industry. Because like actually just yesterday evening, we had this conversation. So we are here in Bangkok because there was a community event this weekend that actually many other people attended that are running events and destinations themselves. So we were joking a bit as we were sitting at the big table together, calling this the cartel meeting. And actually we discussed questions like this, and they're very controversial. I personally, being in this community, both with the Nomad Summit and my actually main job, my main business with that insurance brokerage that I have, I was looking into the numbers and trying to understand them for the last couple of years. And I more and more come to the conclusion that this assumption that many of us had through COVID, that was, we are just at the beginning of a hockey stick curve, and COVID will accelerate that only because people work from home and realize that home can be wherever they choose it to be, that this would accelerate the growth of the like full-time nomad lifestyle like crazy. But this is not happening.
It didn't happen. Yeah.
If you look at the events that are out there, if you look at the mailing lists that people have, if you look at the numbers and social media followership, you see that they are not huge. The biggest ones have small 5-digit numbers in mailing lists and Instagram followers, but no one has a 100,000 subscribers mailing list.
And I can give you another example just to add to this one, Christoph. It's a bit subjective, but every time you go to a nomad meetup, you meet the same people. Like we were supposed to be 25 million digital nomads estimated, I think last year or 2 years ago, maybe more than that. And all these events have like a few thousand people that are, the same people more or less. Like we don't see new people coming. We don't see it growing that fast. It's great we have them.
I disagree here. So there are familiar faces if you go to these events, but that's never more than like 20%.
Okay.
So, I mean, those people that you see, that it feels like you see at every event, that's not many. You can count them in two hands. Then there are people that you see once in a while attending those events. And they're always like, with the Nomad Summit, we have about like 50% completely fresh faces that are for the very first time at an event like this. And that similarly applies to, like, this year I was at the Da Nang, the Vietnam Nomad Fest in March. That was, I think that was like 80% people that haven't been to a Nomad event, but even though it was a much smaller event. And also in September, I was in Athens at the Athens Nomad Fest. There were like 100, 120 people in total. And I would say more than 80% of them were for the first time at any Nomad event. But also, I mean, there is this potential to attract newcomers. But at the same rate, people are dropping out of this lifestyle. People who settle down, maybe as a couple, want to grow a family. And look at even the original founder of the Nomad Summit, Johnny. He started the Nomad Summit in 2015, and he was like one of the key figures of the global digital nomad
he was the godfather of digital nomads at some point.
Johnny, if you listen to this, like
I told him that.
Yeah, he knows. But also, he's a completely different person now. If anyone wants to listen to that, it's episode 11 that I recorded in person with him this summer in July in Kiev, where we were sitting down together. for people who knew him before COVID, like myself, that was really interesting to see how he has become a completely different person, like very humble, very grounded.
Right.
He lives in Kiev for the season where it's warm enough there. And right now he's in Thailand. He will attend the next Nomad Summit as well for the cold season, but he's not a nomad anymore. He's someone who settled down.
And there's also the fact that not all people are like us. Most people actually, they do want that home base. I remember I was giving a talk at some point in my journey when I was back in Denmark in front of 200 people. And I said, how many people think I live the dream life? Everybody raised their hand. How many would do it? And half of the room had their hands up. And then I said, no, seriously, if there were no obligations and you could do it, you could work remotely, how many would really do it? Like live as a digital nomad without a home base? Only 2 people had their hands off. So most people are not like us. And sometimes we're so much in that mindset that we think everybody wants that. Yeah.
Yeah, people are just different. And for me, as a very curious explorer, I celebrate this lifestyle every single day now, almost 10 years in. I don't see an end anywhere near, but I don't have any obligations in my life. I don't have kids. I don't want kids. And that means I was born for this lifestyle. Many other people are just not. They're curious. They're maybe for a phase in their life running away from something, need some clarity in their head, get over something. And for that, the everyday new inspiration of a location-independent lifestyle is very, very helpful. But you need to be cool with yourself. If you're running away from a demon that's actually inside you, that demon will get you. So... But coming back to your original question, like how big is this community and is it growing? I think it is growing. It is growing starting from a much smaller number than many people think. Yeah. So if you look at these numbers that are circulated, like 25, 30 million digital nomads at first, there is a double counting in many categories here, but also most of them are like remote workers, not digital nomads in that sense. So we had a really good episode with some scientists here. They came up with a good definition that the science world has obviously agreed on. That's more or less a digital nomad is a person who travels to at least 3 countries a year for an extended period of time to also work from there, which is not to visit family.
Yeah.
And that number probably, that's less than 100,000 people worldwide. Yeah. But the people that are able to work remotely and are able to, who love to live in their home country in the nice season, and then when it turns dark and ugly and gray and rainy, jump on a plane to Thailand and spend here 3-4 months and then return to their home country, they would never identify as digital nomads themselves if you ask them.
Just a flexible lifestyle.
They are like seasonal nomads. Yeah. They're remote workers who, enjoy what you mentioned earlier, they do a workation. And that group of people, if we count them, we surely get into the millions, into the 7.
So where would you count Andrew, Christoph?
I don't want to put a number on Andrew.
I don't know either. I don't know either because I've got a full-time remote job. I'm traveling to 4 or 5 countries. One of them is my home base. 2 of them are my home base. So I'm around there. I mean, between, I guess, right now. Also because I'm slow traveling right now. So I honestly don't care as long as I've got flexibility and freedom. So it's great. Like,
who wants to be in a box, really?
Yeah. Yeah. And it just reminds me of a conversation I had last week in the Digital Nomad subreddit about the DTV in like this digital nomad visa for Thailand. And then there were questions about people who want to stay here multiple years. And I gave them a slight hint that they're in the wrong subreddit. They need to look into the expat subreddit for all their questions. And then I was blamed for gatekeeping, putting labels on. If they want to be digital nomads, but at the same time move to Thailand for 2 years, then of course, you can call yourself whatever you want.
Exactly.
But from my understanding, if you come from the US and want to move to Thailand for the next couple of years, you're not a digital nomad.
Totally.
You're moving to another country. You're an expat.
Totally, yeah.
If you want to come to the Nomad Summit, you're still very, very welcome to learn more about like remote business setups and things like that. Get ideas for digital marketing and everything that helps. But if we ask a scientist for their definition, if you qualify to be called digital nomads, the answer is no.
Yeah. And you're right, it's a different lifestyle. I think people who want to live there for a while have to look at different type of insurances, different types of flats, different types of, where they want to live. Taxation as well. Yeah, there's so many details. So just have a very good think about like what kind of lifestyle you want. If you want to be like a digital nomad, live like 2-3 months somewhere. If you want to move somewhere else, then it's a different type of research you have to do. It's literally just prioritize whatever you have to do and just be realistic about it. Yeah.
And then live the life that you want to live.
Totally.
This world is so beautiful. And if you go exploring and you find a place where you want to build up your base for the next couple of years or for the rest of your life,
this is also, like Christoph, this is part of something that I love to talk about lately. And that's intentional living. Is like, how do you plan to live, right? Because right now we've got a lot of options. So just plan whatever bases you want to have, plan whatever network meetings you want to go, plan whatever you want to do. There are a lot of options on the table right now. And the beauty of it is that you're very intentional about, you can set up your goals, your vision about your lifestyle, and then start planning it. I mean, there's so much information. I mean, also with remote travel, we're helping people with this kind of information about visas and stays and all those things. So right now you don't have any excuse not to start planning.
Yeah, just give it a try.
Before we started recording, we asked you if you were going to join us in Chiang Mai in January, and you had a very sad look on your face. So you're not going to be able to make it for the next one, but hopefully in 27 and beyond.
Yeah. The thing is, I did my bit of Thailand now about a month and 3 weeks. I just came back and I came back for work. And fortunately for me, like November, December and a bit of January are quite busy. So next time I will do intentional planning. And I will join you next year in January 27.
Yeah, we have another event, the Remote Work Edition in July. But also to every one of our listeners who are listening this episode in the first 2 days when it comes out, there's Black Friday coming up. And we have a sweet deal for your Nomad Summit ticket if you buy 2. So we don't give discounts on a single ticket. But if you bring a friend, there is a very attractive discount on your second ticket. So watch out for the space, subscribe to our email newsletter, follow us on Instagram to see the code that you need to use for the Black Friday deal. And other than that, thank you very, very much for joining in today, Andrew. And we'll put all the links to Remote Tribe, to your socials in the show notes below.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you so much. And hopefully see you soon.
Totally. See you soon, guys.
Kapun Kap.
Kapun Kap.
Produced by radioguru.co.uk.